Talking to Both podcast. This is Court.
This is Ashley, and we're coming at you live from Boston.
Yes, we are.
On a Monday night. I don't know why I feel like I always need to announce the day of the week, but I think it sets the scene.
It does. It does. Yeah. Hence it not being light outside right now, post work.
I feel like the energy is more chill.
It is.
As opposed to a morning.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly. And also, Mondays are honestly one of my favorite days.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
It is a hot take. But I just feel like it resets my life. Like, not even the weekends do that for me, or at least this past weekend. It was just like jam-packed of fun activities. Yeah. So today was like finally back into the gym, back into drinking water, like all the things, you know?
No, I feel that. I've always actually been a fan of Monday, for the most part. I know everybody hates it, but
it's nice to get back into it.
It is.
And also, might be another hot take, I don't like Tuesdays, because
Tuesday's the worst day of the week,
because I feel really good on Mondays. Like, yeah, maybe I'm a little tired from the weekend, but like I'm ready for a change and a refresh. Tuesday hits and all the exhaustion hits me from the lack of sleep I got on the weekend and the tired Monday.
definitely. And then a Wednesday is like a meh. I know everybody gets hyped about hump day, but it never really hits for me.
Really?
I'm like, oh, it's only Wednesday.
That is honestly valid.
And then the rest of the week's fine. Thursday's drop day. Friday's Friday.
Honestly, Ash and I were talking about this, I think last week. Like, having drop day every Thursday gives us something to look forward to throughout the week.
Thank
God.
Like
so much build up. Like, then it happens. Then like content creation. Then we're on to another episode of recording.
Like, my week is centered around a Thursday.
No, it is.
Thursday is the reset for us. For real.
It's so good. Well,
yeah.
Hoping you guys feel the same, that Thursday's your favorite day too.
It better be. And with that, I feel like we have a couple life updates. I know I have one.
Yeah.
But
get us started, girlfriend.
So I'm moving again. Mic drop.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Basically, we were supposed to be in this current apartment that you're looking at right now. September to September. We had like a year lease. And it was so crazy because around January timeframe, Joe and I were like, let's just break our lease, get something off cycle, get a nice deal. Like, we need a bigger place. Our current apartment, the one that you're looking at right now, is 650 square feet.
Oof.
For two people is just a lot. And we have done an exceptional job living here together. Everything has a place, very organized. We have not had one fight except for the fish smell here. But the fact that two grown humans can coexist in this space and not kill each other.
It was a test.
Oh, and we passed with flying colors.
For sure.
So we were already planning to break our lease, like if the right place came up. Like 2 weeks after we had that conversation, the owner of this condo that we rent from now calls us to tell us he's moving back to Boston. This man has not lived in Boston for 7 years. And he's like, if you guys find a new place and you want to break your lease early, there will be no penalty. We're like, is this not the universe telling us everything happens for a reason?
Yes.
So we got exactly what we wanted.
That.
So we started looking for places, found a couple. I found my dream apartment in this apartment building. It was a loft, had massive ceilings, like, I didn't even know apartments like this existed in Boston. We applied for it. I was so excited, and they decided they didn't want to rent it until after the summer because the owner was going to be here for business or something over the summer and needed a place to stay. So I was crushed. 1 week later, an apartment in the exact same building, a corner unit, floor-to-ceiling windows. This doesn't mean anything to you guys, but for Joe and I, this is the dream apartment that we've talked about since we first ever discussed living together. Ideally, this apartment would have been the corner unit with floor-to-ceiling windows.
Yeah.
And the best part is this apartment also comes with a parking spot, which the other one, my dream one, did not. So, like, everything just worked out. We ended up, like, bidding against this apartment with somebody else. We didn't bid. They were like, the other person is going to raise their rent higher. Do you want to counter? And we said, no, we are broke. This is the top of our budget.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you got it anyways. So we just paid 4 months of rent. Hence my saying no to plans era. But before we get into that, basically my biggest update is I will be moving April 1st, and you guys will see a new podcast studio for starting April. So exciting stuff.
Woo! The juju has been off since you moved into this place, and as much as I honestly really love this place, I could understand the difficulty in logistically living here.
Yeah, and if it was cheaper,
it would make sense.
But this is literally like top of our budget. This new place is the exact same price as what we pay now, and we're just getting so much more.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to think about. But I mean, it is kind of sad. Like, this is our first home together.
Yeah.
Like, we were laying in bed the other night and looking around, and I was like, Joe, like, I'm gonna miss our little bedroom. Like, we made it so cozy, and this really feels like home. So I don't know if the other place is gonna feel as homey, but regardless, we're so freaking excited.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Except we're not gonna be as close to one another anymore, but it's okay.
I'm gonna keep my South End sticker so I can still like drive over here.
Oh, cool.
And then when you move, we're gonna have to figure that out another day.
Yeah.
I am manifesting, and all of you should as well, that Courtney and Matt are going to move into my building.
Well, what's crazy is that we've always found a way to live on the same street.
Yes.
Always.
I don't know how. For those that are new here.
Yeah.
Courtney and I lived on the same road, pretty much like the same highway, because I lived on a highway, and so did you.
I lived under the highway, actually.
We lived like half a mile or a mile down the same highway in Somerville. So we were like 3 minutes away from each other. And then Courtney gets a new place in the South End. And what do Joe and I find? An apartment that is 0.4 miles down the exact same road.
Yeah. And it's so wild. Like, you moved first to Somerville, and then I followed. Still did not plan that. Nope. And then it happened the other way around too, where I moved first and then you followed.
So now we just naturally need to follow the cycle.
Exactly.
And you'll find something in downtown, which is close to Matt's work anyways. So I feel like regardless, you'll be semi-close. So anyways, we're just all we're
manifesting. Regardless, everything is going to happen the way that it's supposed to. And I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I'm also very excited.
As long as it doesn't interfere with my birthday plans.
Well, that's a story for another day.
Well, okay, anyways. Amazing. I don't really have updates aside from the fact that I had a busy week, and typically I'm normally like, oh my God, I just came back from like all this work travel. It's so nice to be in Boston. I had events for work in Boston last week, which was so much fun. What a concept. So all my coworkers came to me, and it was so funny because I brought Matt along, and everyone that I introduced him to was like, oh my God, Matt, like, I know you through Courtney's Instagram. Happy 1 year, guys. Like, all this stuff. Like, everyone knew intimate details of his and I's relationship. And it just really just hit me in the face. The power of Instagram and social media that you just don't realize about sometimes. And also what happens when you involve your coworkers in your social life.
That's fair.
But it was really fun. And then we had Galentine's Day this past yesterday,
Sunday. Yep.
Yesterday.
It's never too late for Galentine's Day.
It's never too late for Galentine's Day. It was really cute. I honestly think it was one of the better events that we had at my place. Just all girls. There's something about feminine energy, you know?
I love it.
And it's like people that I would never typically think to hang out with, like one off, but was so nice to like reconnect with people that like I haven't seen in a while, or people from social media, or even there was this group of girls that came over for brunch that Sophia and Camila had met the night before. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes. I talked to one of them and she was telling me.
Yeah.
I was like, so how do you know? And they're like, well, we actually know their boyfriend's roommate's friend met them last night. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
How?
We didn't think they were going to come, but they live in the South End. So we were like, okay,
gorgeous.
Of course.
Love it.
So yeah, very fun. It's a very social time in my life right now. But I also need to spend time alone.
And with that
was a very forceful, not smooth way of trying to get into the episode topic. But no, before we even do that, we just wanted to elaborate on something that we talked about last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
big news. This is so exciting, guys.
Our upcoming first ever event.
Woo!
It's happening. It's happening.
Guys, we all get to hang out in person.
All right. April 18th. Mark your calendars, everyone.
Fun fact, it is like National Tax Day.
Oh, fun.
Which is so much fun. And we're going to make it so much fun. So it is a Tuesday.
Yes.
So ideally you come right after work. It's going to be 6 to 8.
Yep.
We are essentially renting out, I guess, in a way,
yes.
Baubles and Lace on Newbury Street. You guys will get 15% off all of the clothes there. Very cute. For those that don't know Baubles, so I grew up in...
Explain your background with it.
So I grew up in like Maine, New Hampshire area, and in Portsmouth they have a Baubles and Lace. And when I tell you, my sister and I like kept that store afloat. Like we bought everything, like always back to school shopping. Like since high school, we're like celebrities when we walk into like the home store.
Guys, I'm not kidding. She's a celebrity in the Boston one too. Like when she walks in, people are like,
"You haven't been here in a while. How have you been?"
And Ashley's like, "I've only been once, like a year ago. How do they remember me like that?"
And then they like look up. They're like, "Wow, you've like shopped here a lot." And I'm like, yeah. So long story short is they have really cute clothes. And I think there's going to be a little bit of rosé,
some snacks,
good music, good vibes.
Ideally, we can hire our good friend DJ Gib Gab to be on the mixtape.
Yes.
Be on the mixtape. Yeah, that makes sense.
Works.
Be on Aux.
But it'll be really fun. So it's going to be 2 hours. You guys can feel free to like come and go, whether it's at the beginning of those 2 hours or at the end or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You can stay, hang out, and just chit chat with people, or just come and get something on sale. That's also fine. But yeah, so we're really excited. You guys will see more about it on the Instagram. We'll remind you. But April 18th from 6 to 8. And put it in the cal.
I was going to say, and it's on such a good day of the week. It's not, but we're going to make it a good day of the week because we just talked about how much we hate Tuesdays. But no,
yeah, this is why we're
turning it around. We're turning it around.
Exactly, precisely. So feel free to bring your friends. It's not like podcast only. They could not even know it's a podcast event. That's totally fine. Like, bring whoever you want. And yeah,
well, we're gonna have an Eventbrite too, just so we have like a good understanding of like the amount of people that are coming. We might even have some surprises for people that register beforehand. So stay tuned.
To see it. Stay up to date, ladies and gentlemen.
And with that, Boston Rock of the Week.
Are you like, wow,
are we ever gonna get into the episode?
Okay, really quick. What's your Boston Rock of the Week?
Krasi, Mediterranean restaurant in Back Bay. It's the best if you're trying to go on a date. That's where I like fell in love with my boyfriend. You just have to go, period.
It's so good. Krasi with a K.
Yeah. Krasi.
Beautiful. And mine is, hold on, I actually need to look up the name, but it is where I got my nails done yesterday. It is called My Mani Pedi Spa. It's on Tremont Street in the South End. Now, Courtney just pointed out, they do not have recliner, like, chairs.
Massage chairs.
But every single time I go and get a pedicure, it's not a rushed pedicure. And it's reasonably priced. They use the hot stones. Like, they take their time with it. And that's really all I want when I go for a pedicure. I just want someone to, like, rub my feet and, like, take their time. There's nothing worse than paying $45 for a pedicure and then having it be over in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. I want to sit and let my brain just like melt. So I would recommend. Did they do like the most amazing job? No. Like, it's fine.
and
with
now.
Hold on, I need a sip of my wine.
So I did realize that I have been drinking for the past like over a week straight, and I don't remember the last time I was in one of those situations. So I'm seeing how long I could go without alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't offer you a glass, so I'm sorry about that.
No. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Okay, perfect.
But I'm just sharing.
Now,
I'm impressed. It's a Monday night.
Right. I was in your state where, like, I didn't want to drink for, like, a while, actually. I was not really drinking very often, and then I don't know what hit me, but I had a cocktail, and I'm like, wow, I forgot how good, like, one single glass of wine hits at the end of the night, or maybe a little tequila soda, but like make it fancy with a little juice or something, a little gin drink. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of been hitting recently.
I love that for you.
Yeah. So I guess we're in our drinking era again.
So you're in your saying no to plans and staying home and drink era.
All right. That sounds really bad.
Love that. Love that. No, I'm kidding. Just
all right.
messing.
Let's intro today's episode.
This was a highly requested topic.
Yeah, whenever we put up the question box on Insta, there were multiple of you that wanted to hear about how to spend time alone.
So we're doing it. And I think we're both, maybe, I don't want to speak for you. I think I'm very good at this.
I am terrible at this.
You could do both, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the entire point of this podcast. You know, you get one perspective and half of you will resonate with me and the other half will resonate with Courtney.
Drop it in the comments who you like better. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, you're so toxic.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Who resonates with Ashley better and who resonates with Courtney better? I wouldn't want to know. I would not want to know.
No, I wouldn't either.
But yeah, so let's just jump right in and honestly talk about why it's important. I think people want to hear about it because they know that it's something that people should learn how to do, but it's not always the easiest thing. No. Especially like at this stage in our lives, a lot of people have roommates, a lot of people are dating or have significant others, or maybe there's people who just moved to a city by themselves and they're not comfortable with their alone time and all the time that they have. So certainly important. And I also think that in order to know yourself and to know who you are as an individual, you need to remove the distractions and the people in your life, because it's true. Like, you, for the most part, probably are some form or iteration of the people in your life. But in order to know what you really want and who you really are, you need to spend time without anyone else.
Yeah. And it's crazy how just spending a couple hours of intentionally spending time alone, you actually can learn a lot about yourself because there's no one else's opinions to agree or disagree with. You're just like sitting alone in your thoughts. I've realized this. We mentioned it in the other episode, but just like when you let your mind just do its thing without any like music or podcasts or TV in the background, a lot of the time that you spend time alone, your mind is just doing its thing, and you'll be surprised of like things that come out and like opinions that you form. And I was in relationships for like I either like lived at home. Okay, I went to college. I was in like back-to-back situationships, relationships. I was a serial dater. We all know this. So I was never alone. I was either with my friends and my 6 roommates that I lived with for all 4 years of college, or I was with a boyfriend. And then like COVID hit and I had to spend time alone. And then like I moved to the city with my roommate at the time. Like we didn't really know each other, and she's awesome at spending time alone. So there was a lot of time where I was kind of like forced to be uncomfortable, and I was really uncomfortable spending time alone. I felt like, I don't know, maybe there's like some trauma there where like I didn't want to unpack whatever was in my head, but I constantly had to be like putting my mind to something, and that's where the podcast came in. But I think over the past 2 or 3 years, I've definitely learned how to enjoy spending time alone and why it is so important, because at the end of the day, you have to love who you are in order for you to be good for anybody else.
Exactly.
And I think that was a realization I didn't realize. Like, I would always have so much fun with other people, and I think that they would also have fun with me. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't like work out the things and you aren't totally obsessed and you love yourself, you're not going to be confident in like the world.
Yeah.
So, and literally, guys, it's morbid, but like at the end of the day, you can't trust anybody.
No.
Like, all you have is yourself.
Yeah. Friends come and go. Significant others come and go. You're with yourself your entire life. Yeah. So you need to learn to love who you are on the inside and be able to have confidence in yourself and who you are, so you can create the life that you want with the people that you want.
Totally.
Yeah. And you kind of giving a background about yourself, I just did some introspection mid listening, and I've always been the type of person to value alone time. I don't know what it is. I think it, once again, like my dad played a huge part, because he's such an independent person. Like growing up, he would just like go golfing by himself or go to a bar like after work and have a singular beer and come home. Like he probably had multiple beers, but not a singular beer. But he was just always like, I would always be like, Dad, why are you going by yourself? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, that's what you do. Like, whatever. And so I think I always carved out time. Like I had a boyfriend like all of high school. I had a lot of friends, but I always tried to have like at least one day or one night of the week where I would just watch a Netflix show, or actually God only knows what I did, because like I didn't read, I studied, but like is that time alone? I don't know. But moral of the story is I'd make sure that I'd have time for myself, I'd have time for my family and different people in my life. And then when I went to college, I feel like that was the first time where I was like, oh shit, I really need time alone, because you live in a space where you're 6 feet apart from one another. Freshman year, you're always around people, especially with the like door open policy. And,
my
like,
literal dream. I never had to spend a single second alone.
It's a lot of fun, but I just need time to disconnect in order for my social battery to recharge, and in order for me to like love every experience that I have and bring my all to every experience. So my alone time always was going to the gym. Like that's just my thing. It's always been my thing. And I've realized that like when people would like try to go to the gym with me, or like boyfriends at the time would try to go to the gym with me, I'd be like, like this is my time. This is my place and space. No, thank you. And I don't always feel that way, but majority, honestly, yeah. And I think it has just like paved the person that I am and the way that I know exactly what I want.
So today we're going to be giving you some inspo, some tips of things to try, and like basically how to enjoy spending time alone.
Yeah.
Because like, again, I think the main point here is if you can't enjoy spending time by yourself, how is anyone else supposed to enjoy spending time with you?
Exactly. Yeah. So before we get into tips, it's also just very valid to think of time alone as like something that you have to do, but you don't necessarily know how to do, which is why we're giving tips, but also like how to communicate it to people. Because I've been in situations before where it's like, oh, I don't want this person to think that I don't want to spend time with them, or I don't want me saying no to plans to make someone feel a certain type of way. And so before we even get into tips, like, just know that it's okay for you to recognize when you need to take time for yourself, because you don't want to enter a situation where you can't be the best version of yourself because your battery's low or you're exhausted, or you just need to take a moment. And you can basically just say like, hey, like I've been really exhausted. I even asked you, it's like, how are you going to say no to plans? Like, how are you going to say like, oh shit, I just dropped so much money, I don't want to do anything with anyone? But it's like, it doesn't have to be that deep, you know? Like you can literally just say how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And also a lot of my friends and family know that I'm the type of person that's like, it's nothing against you, I just need to not stay up till midnight tonight. I'm going to go into my room away from my roommates at 10 o'clock and I'm going to have some me time before I go to bed. Like, it's that simple.
No, I actually think this is so important, because this was a concept I could not wrap my head around for a really long time, because I would much rather prefer to spend all of my time with the people I love. Rather, like, why would I want to spend time alone? Like, I would rather be with everybody else. But when Joe and I started living together, he was like, or even before that, honestly, he was like, I just like really enjoy like my alone time. It's not that I don't want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
It's that I just also like to spend time with myself. And I was like, what do you mean? So you hate me? Like you want to break up with me is what you're saying. So it took me a really long time to wrap my head around this, but believe it or not, people like spending time alone.
Yeah.
And it's completely valid to say so. And yeah, I just think, hey, I need some me time.
Okay, question coming from someone who doesn't live with their boyfriend.
Yeah.
How do you and Joe make sure that you both get time and space alone when you live together?
I mean, well, I'm away most of the time. It's mostly Joe here, so I don't really ever get time alone.
It's not like you both. Oh, good. I was gonna say, oh, okay, so you spend time apart, but
no, like he gets his alone time that he needs, and I don't really need alone time. But so like then intentionally, I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do like a workout. We'll get into all the things that I do by myself.
Yeah.
But I don't need as much alone time as he does, but he does get his. And then also like he's really good about doing his hobbies, so like he'll go play golf. Like, we also have been reading together, so like it's kind of in alone activity, but while we are doing it together, it's like he doesn't exist, and it's like I don't exist there for him. So it kind of works out.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you say that, because Matt is very similar to you in the sense that he doesn't need alone time. And I'm like, I need this, otherwise I'll actually kill you.
Yeah.
And right now, like, obviously we don't live together, but I do spend a lot of time at his place, most nights, if you will. And whenever I spend time by myself, spend nights by myself, I'm like, I use that as like my productivity hours. Like, I'm a night owl. So like I even may not even get all my work done during the day because I voluntarily decide to do work at night between like 10 p.m. and like midnight.
Yeah.
Or like I like to journal. I like to do certain things. And because whenever I stay with him, we go to bed at the same time. Like, he doesn't necessarily need to do those things. So I just didn't. I was like, wait, I need to stop thinking that I can't be myself and have my alone time existing in the same space as someone who does not care for it for themselves as much as I do. And it's just like a mindset shift, because I was like, wait, if we want to move in together, when am I ever going to create this time and space for myself?
I think it's totally valid to you stay out in the living room and you do your little journal session. Like,
exactly.
Although hopefully Matt's not too similar to me, because Joe tries to do that sometimes, and I go, well, it's not healthy for a relationship to not go to bed at the same time.
That's exactly what he says.
He's like,
and I also love going to bed with him.
Yeah, I like going to bed at the same time. But I don't know, maybe you can convince like one night a week, every Sunday night or every Monday night or whatever it is. Like, yes.
Well, it was nice when he was studying, because I could grind and he could also be grinding like in bed at the same time. But all to say, there are workarounds. You can figure it out whether you...
That was a tangent.
Yes. Whether you are living with your significant other or not. But I was just genuinely curious.
Yeah.
On to the tips.
Okay, let's finally get into the episode. Yeah, what do you say?
Hey.
Okay, I'm going to kick us off. Actually, no, you kick us off, because you were the first one to put your things in here.
Okay. So I think a lot of people excuse alone time because they're like, I already have so much time, or I already have so many things to do in a day. You just got to wake up a little bit earlier. And I think that's hard for some people, but either you wake up earlier or you go to bed a little bit later, but you like be intentional with that time to make sure that it's by yourself. So the first 30 minutes of the day, create some routines, create a morning routine that you're so excited to wake up to, whether it be a little stretch, whether it be just a skincare routine, anything for yourself. And at nighttime, same thing.
Yeah. I think just those routines in general are your you time. So you should create a morning routine and a night routine that is just for you and that you are obsessed with, that it makes you feel so good. Fall in love with like your morning routine and your night routine, and it's a little habit, a little something that you do just for you, that you can also just be alone in your thoughts in that.
Yeah. I will also say, in this nightly routine and morning routine, people aren't going to want to hear me say this, but get ready. Get off of TikTok.
Oh, no phones.
No phones. But that's like, people are like, oh yeah, spending time. Like, I'm not with anybody. Like, it's so natural for you to pick up your phone the first thing in the morning or be watching it till the second you go to bed at night. And it's just literally the worst thing for you.
Do something for someone else, but do it alone. So this is for all of my people that struggle doing things alone. You can actually do something for somebody else, but because you're doing it alone, like, you're going to feel so good after. You're going to love that alone time that you spent. And I'll give you an example. Joe had like a work trip, and it was probably a month or so after we moved into here, so we were still finding furniture. And I found these 2 nightstands on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know, I would never do this today, but I was like so energized. I had a weekend to myself. I had no plans. So I bought these nightstands. I drove to Alston, like 30 minutes away. I picked them up. I loaded them into my car. Like, they're big nightstands too. And then I unloaded them in our garage, carried them up, like brought them in the elevator, carried them in, set them up on either side of the bed. And I surprised Joe for when he came home. And it was just like a little me day. I did something productive, but I also got to surprise somebody else. And I think that's a great way to ease yourself into really enjoying your alone time.
Yeah, when you're thinking of somebody else in the process.
Yeah, and then you have like a final result, whether it's like getting somebody flowers or surprising them with nightstands or something like that.
Yes, I love that. My next one is, if you're not in a landlocked state, drive to a body of water. Doesn't need to be the ocean. It could be a lake, if you will, whatever is closest to you. The ocean is where I typically go, and I feel like helps with this specific point, but it really doesn't matter. Stare into the horizon. Stare into like something that's bigger than yourself. You're outside. If you're not outside, honestly, I've done this in the winter where I just like drive to like M Street Beach or Castle Island or whatever it's called, and you park your car. You like kind of lower the windows a little bit so you're getting fresh air, but you're still in it if it's cold out. And you just like, you feel one with nature, you know?
Yeah.
I think you told me this last week. Like, I've always been an ocean baby. Like, I grew up in Florida, always loved it. It's always been like my happy place. And you were in Miami and you were like, it just felt so good to stare into the world and realize how small of a human and how small your problems are. Like, it just really does something, like mindset shift.
Totally. For me, rather than an ocean, what it is for me is I love looking at the stars, specifically up in New Hampshire, because we can't see it with all the light pollution in Boston. Like, when I look up and I see a clear night sky, like, I feel so good. That's like one of my favorite things to do in the summer, or when I go up to the lake house in the hot tub on like a cold like winter night, and you look up and you just like, we're so small, you know, and it's just such a nice experience. But that's also something like you could do with other people too, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if I've ever actually looked at the stars alone. So
when I'm at my mental breaking point, that's what I do.
On the edge.
I drive with the windows down, tunes on, volume all the way up, and then eventually go make myself feel small by looking out into the ocean.
There you go. That's a good tip. Okay, this one's very obvious, but self-care is such an easy thing to do. So I have like self-care, do the face mask, take the shower where you double shampoo, you shave your whole body, oil your hair, do your self-tan, like whatever it is, like plan a whole night. If you have a bathtub, take a bubble bath, light the candles in there, maybe set up like your little Netflix show if you have an iPad because you're an iPad girl. Like do the whole thing and make a whole night of it. Even like some cool music, like a nice playlist in the background. That's a great way to spend time alone, and you're treating yourself just by making it a little luxe.
I love it. Mine is hyper specific, but I think you added on to this point. Go to Target. I personally love Target because it's like, you know what you're going to get by walking into the store. You probably have like a Target that you go to all the time. You know exactly what sections are where. And like, you just go and you browse. You don't even need to buy anything. If you're me, then or like me, you'll probably walk out spending at least $100.
Of course.
But just, there's something about it to me. Like, I don't know. It's not as hectic as like a Newberry Street. And like, there's always something new and fun. You probably just saw a TikTok video that's like, oh my God, all the best finds at Target. It's just a thing. It's therapy to me.
I've never been like on the Target grind,
oh
but
my God.
Newberry Street was like always my go-to place. Like I have my route of boutiques. I do the same route every single time I go. So not only can you just like go to Target, but do a little window shopping. Go to Newberry Street, go through the Peru, go to Sephora. There's nothing better than like finding a new like makeup product and like going home and trying it. But also thrifting alone is a vibe, and there's no better feeling on the planet than finding like the thrift find that people are like, oh my God, where did you get that from? And you get to say that you thrifted it. Plus you did it alone. Like, what a great, like, I remember I used to come home and I'd be like, Ciara, look what I just found thrifting. She's like, oh, no way. Like, I don't know. It makes you like, yeah, see, I can do this all alone. Also, and look how much fun I had. Also, when you go thrifting with other people, you're in competition. There's only so many good finds. No, the way my anxiety is through the roof. I'm like,
the way you just literally almost jumped off the couch in me saying that one-liner.
Because the competition is high. It's so hard to find a good thrift find.
Yeah,
like,
you better start it off the end of the store.
Literally.
It's like a race. It's like who can find it first.
Yes.
I'm dead. That's so funny. Okay. Plan your meals for the week. This is just therapeutic again for me. I save things whenever I see them on Instagram. I like save them into folders like dinner recipes, lunch recipes, whatever. And then creating your grocery list based on fun new meals that you want to try and cooking alone. And similar to your first point, you can cook for someone else, like the way that you surprised Joe. Like you can cook for your roommates. You can like do the act of cooking by yourself. You can plan what you're going to be purchasing at the grocery store and what you're going to be making by yourself, but then having a shared experience with someone that you love.
Totally. And I love making a grocery list. It's like just
your type A's.
Yeah, I like rewrite my grocery list like 3 times. Not
just
only
so that it looks pretty.
Well, so it's sectioned by like produce, like because there's nothing worse than going through and saying, oh, did I get all the veggies? And then you get to the meat section and you forgot your green pepper.
Yeah,
because it wasn't in the correct section.
That sucks.
But then also on my fridge over there, I literally have the menu for the week. So like each night we know what we're cooking. It's just amazing. But going off of that. Going to the grocery store in general, we've talked about it before, but like throw on a podcast, do your grocery shopping, and it is such great alone time. Maybe not for everybody, but like I love going to Trader Joe's. Yeah. However, you throw me in a Stop and Shop, that's my hell.
Or Market Basket on a Sunday.
Oh my God. Trader Joe's is the only place, and Wegmans sometimes.
Wegmans,
just a lot of options.
You need to plan this activity strategically at a time where it's not going to be chaotic, and never expect to be able to do this on the Boylston Street Trader Joe's.
Just never go there in general.
Never go there in general. I don't know why they find themselves so cute for being the smallest Trader Joe's in the world.
Biggest
it is
hearts.
The most inconvenient, most chaotic thing every single time.
It is.
Ugh.
Wait, I didn't even like finish the point that I was trying to make. I got distracted about grocery stores. But
turned on by making lists.
Literally. Making yourself your favorite meal. Yeah. So like my favorite meal to make is spicy vodka sauce that I made on Friday. I just love to make it. I don't know why. It just like hits the spot for me. It's like one of my favorite pasta dishes, and it's so easy to make, but making a sauce myself rather than from a jar like makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself, the people I love. So make your favorite meal. And then going off of just like guilty pleasures. So I'm going to share my guilty pleasure that I always do when I'm like having a day by myself, a Shirley Temple. There's nothing I love more than a Shirley Temple. It's been my new fixation. And I just think treating yourself to your guilty pleasure, whatever that is a great way to enhance your alone time.
On the essence of planning, I love planning my next day. Like I love before I go to bed, like seeing what meetings I have, seeing when I can carve in different like pockets of peace or moments for myself that day, planning my workout, like just envisioning what your day is going to look like so you can actually feel prepared the next day. I do not do this every day, but when I do, I feel really good about it.
Me too. I feel like that's so specific to our, I don't know if I want to call it type A, but like the fact that we love a list and we love a plan in a sense. Yeah. If you're that type of girl, that's a great way to spend your alone time. I love it. And then an obvious one I have is just reading. If it's difficult for you to read, it's just... it's such a nice escape. Like, read a fiction book, read a little romance novel. And if you need some inspo, grab a friend and say, we're going to read this book. Let's meet up in a month, in 2 weeks, and we'll talk about these chapters or the whole book if you can finish it in that time.
Yeah. There's something about just, like, putting all the technology away. Like, even when I plan, I'm looking at my device. Even though I'm not scrolling on my phone, like, there is a light involved. Mm-hmm. TV, there's obviously, like, screens involved. But reading is nice. And what was a barrier to entry for me in reading was I like couldn't get the right vibe, like in terms of lighting. And like I don't want the lights to be all the way on. I have just like really shitty dim lights. I try to use like my fun colorful like orb that sets the room to red, but like I can't see until I found my Amazon light that
found in our Amazon storefront.
We'll link out to it, but it literally just sits on your like collarbones around your neck, and there's a few different settings. You click it, and so I can be in an entirely dark room, but the only thing illuminated is the pages of the book, and it just like has turned me on to reading because it's the right environment.
No, I actually need to get that because especially now that I live with my significant other and we're both trying to read, he's usually like ready to go to bed before I am. And I'm like, oh, I just want to like finish this chapter.
Yeah,
like I was really down to read one more chapter and then we got to shut the lights off.
Yeah.
So I really need to hop on that trend.
You should.
Or not trend, but that item on Amazon.
But I'm also talking about screens. If you wanted to spend some time like on an iPad or on your phone or on your computer, because that also is therapeutic. There are other things that you can do being productive that doesn't involve scrolling in social media. And so 2 that come to mind for me are making Pinterest boards and just like creating an aesthetic for like an event that you have coming up or what you want the next year to look like, manifest, whatever. And then secondly is cleaning out your photos and videos within your camera roll.
That's like my least
it's a
favorite
chore,
task, but I always
it's a chore,
feel really
but it
good
feels
after.
good.
Yeah.
And also it's, I mean, depending on the memories that you're scrolling through, sometimes it's fun.
Yeah. You're a memory girl. Like, I feel like you
girl.
like to go back and see things and rewatch videos and put yourself in the moment. I'm like, oh, I love to take a good video for the memories. It'll bring you back. I literally never go back and look at stuff ever. It's just like not the type of person I am. But yeah, it does feel good. I need to do that like soon.
My phone has just all of a sudden stopped working, and it's because I have over 80,000 photos on my phone.
Wow. I thought mine was bad. I think I have like 40.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, not great. On the vibe of clean out, literally what I always do when I'm feeling anxious or need to spend time alone, or my ideal day is I clean out my closet. I love going through. I just think becoming closer to the minimalistic lifestyle, even if it's just me going through a cabinet or a drawer or my closet or a bin under my bed, just makes me feel so like I'm getting rid of all this energy that's just taking up space in
your mind.
Yeah. So that's like almost a guilty pleasure in a way, but I also have trouble letting things go. So, you know, I've
a fun dichotomy.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay. I'm about to be bold with my next 2.
Okay.
Travel alone.
Bold.
This is like not always accessible for people, but I had the luxury of like a lot of work travel, and then it kind of just me having the alone time that I had and realizing that I enjoyed it incentivized me or encouraged me to do it by myself too without work travel. And if you're like, wait, where would I go alone? Why would I go anywhere alone? I'm a believer. I've been a believer since I was like 12 maybe. And I looked at his tour list, and the last time he was on tour, he conveniently canceled his last leg of his tour when I was supposed to be going to one of his concerts due to mental health reasons. So I was like, with this man, odds are of that happening again are very high. I saw that he was going to Austin, Texas in the springtime, and I was like, yeah, I'll make a trip out of that. A solo trip, a solo concert. And it was so much fun, especially because I don't necessarily have believer friends at this point in my life. But I feel like a concert would be a fun way for you to actually have an activity once you go to said location. And it's something that maybe you're someone that likes a band or an artist and you don't have people that are on the same wavelength. And like, there's nothing worse than going to a concert with someone if you're a diehard fan of whoever this person is, and the person doesn't know a singular song lyric. They don't know. Like, I honestly just had so much fun not having to care about anyone else around me.
Yeah. No, that's like another level of spending time alone. Like, I don't know if I'm on that level yet. I'm in beginner stages for sure. But I think ideally it's locally and you don't have to like hop on a flight to go see a concert. But like, if your favorite artist is coming into town, I don't know, challenge yourself to go to the concert by yourself. Like, it could be fun, and you know you're going to feel so good after. Yeah. And then I just want to say a point about traveling alone. It's usually not very feasible to like go on vacation alone. If you have the opportunity to do that, that's amazing. Like, good for you. But if you don't, use that time just to travel alone, but to visit a long distance bestie. Yeah. Or family somewhere else. Like, just being in the airport by yourself gives you this euphoric feeling of like, I'm like just doing life. I don't know. I remember I met my
never
family
thought of it like that.
Oh, I think
that's
about
my
it.
norm.
Okay,
yeah, no,
that's fair. That's
but
fair.
honestly, it does feel very empowering.
Yeah,
when you're used to traveling with people.
I've only like traveled for a flight on my own like maybe 3 or 4 times in my whole life, maybe. And all of those times I felt pretty badass. So
I guess that means I am a badass.
You are that. You're a natural badass. It doesn't even seem badass to you.
Ew.
Anyways, next up. I know you were going to say this, but this one's, I think, just an obvious one. Obviously, workout. I know that's like your safe space. For me, I have no idea what I'm doing in the gym when like I do my own workout, but taking a workout class alone is like one of my favorite things to do. That's definitely a form of me spending time alone. In the beginning, I used to make Joe like come with me all the time, but there's something just like it becomes so normal after you do it a couple times. But I know it is intimidating to go to a workout class alone. But I just want to put a reminder out there for anyone who is worried and like a little bit intimidated. Everybody's so worried about themselves. Like nobody's going to notice if you're alone or not.
Yeah.
And like everybody in there is pretty much
also,
alone.
I feel like
anyways.
the point of a workout class is for you to go alone, or maybe I guess people go with friends. But like when I think of it, it's like to be surrounded by other people.
Yeah.
Even though you go by yourself. Like at the end of the day, you're going to end up being with other people and like having a friend next to you on the mat. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't think people should be intimidated by that.
No, but I've heard a lot. Yeah, people are, because, you know, I'm Equinox's #1 fan. So I'm like, oh, their classes are great. And I'll talk to people and they're like, yeah, I still haven't been. And I'm like, you haven't been? What's the point of having an Equinox membership? What do you mean? So.
Okay. My next one is journaling. And I think this is something that people either love or hate, or they're not very comfortable with because they don't know what to write about or like what to do. And I'll actually post some prompts that I like to use at the beginning and end of each month. Like I kind of have this series of like things I'm grateful for from last month, like maybe things that I want to do next month. And it just like allows you to reflect on the past few weeks and puts a little intention behind your next month that's to come. And it just like makes you think about life, and it's very easy. It's like a couple questions. But outside of that, like also there's something really empowering about not using a prompt and just like opening up a sheet of paper, putting a pen in your hand and seeing what comes out. Like I actually came across some journals from 2020, 2021, and 2022 last night. And I would just like, I don't do this every night, but like when something like big is happening in my life, or like I just feel like I need to put pen to paper for whatever reason, like I write about something. So I was literally opening up books and being like, it just takes you immediately back. Like, I can't believe I was thinking this way in this moment. I still am thinking this way about this scenario and about goals, or seeing goals that I had written for myself that I actually achieved. Like,
yeah,
it's so therapeutic. And a lot of the times when I do that form of writing, just like freehand, the pen doesn't move fast enough. Like there's so much happening in my mind that it's like just a brain dump. You just never know.
No, I've heard, I think a lot of therapists recommend that. I've heard them called morning pages. Mm-hmm. And what you do is you wake up and you put pen to paper, and you don't stop writing, essentially. Yep. Like you don't lift your pen once. And even if you don't even know what you're going to say, like you just commit to writing 3 pages in the morning. And because you aren't like thinking about what you're writing, your mind is just throwing things out. And what I've heard is half the time you're like, whoa, I didn't even know I was like thinking about that much. And it like helps you realize things. I'm still like not a journaler as much as like I want to become one. It's never really been quite my form of therapy, if you will, but you know, occasionally I'll write some goals down. That's what I like to do. That's, I guess, my version of journaling.
Yeah, and that's totally okay.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I've get a pedicure on here. That's just like
naturally
the best time of. I did that yesterday and it was like amazing. But another one I have: try meditating. But only if it's something you want to do. Like, don't force yourself to meditate. But even if you do like a 3-minute meditation, you get to tell yourself for the rest of the day, I meditated this morning. I spent some time just by myself and I sat alone with my thoughts, and you did something good for your mental health. And even if you hated it, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Every time I meditate, even if I'm like, what the heck was that? I just feel better.
Yeah. My next one is kind of broad, like invest in your passions and whatever those passions are. So if your passion is podcasting, maybe watch and listen to some podcasts or figure out what you can do to become a podcaster. If you really want to become more financially literate, then consume content that has to do with that. If you want to feel like you know a little bit more about what's happening in the world, I feel like it's so easy to just go on with your everyday life and sometimes not take a step back and be like, what is the current climate of everything else outside of myself? Like, subscribe to a newsletter that takes you 10 minutes to actually read, and do it every single day or do it twice a week, just to invest in things that don't come naturally to your day that are going to bring you or shape you into the person that you want to be eventually. It doesn't need to be this big commitment. I started reading The Morning Brew. It's a newsletter that I've been subscribed to for years, and it just comes to the inbox, and I read the title, or like just whenever I have time, I'll read it. And most often I tell myself that I don't have time to read this at the moment, but I've been integrating it into other habits. So I've been reading it when I'm on the Stairmaster at the beginning of my workout. So it's just like, it goes by like that. Like I have never been on the Stairmaster or been on the treadmill quicker. Like in my mind, just feels like no time has passed.
Okay, I'm gonna ramble off a couple just because these are small ones. But rearranging your space. If you really know me, you know this about me. I used to rearrange my room like every month, if not every
your entire
2 weeks.
apartment.
Yeah, I just love resetting a space.
You've rearranged this living room like 7 times.
I have, yeah. I think this is the final state, though. I should rearrange it one more time just for shits and gigs in my last month. But I always just feel so clean and like a reset. And I'm like, a new me is born when I rearrange a space. Then I make a bouquet of flowers from Trader Joe's. You'll never feel better than like having a little solo moment, a little date, going to Trader Joe's, picking out your flowers. Actually, I have gorgeous flowers sitting from Courtney's Valentine's Day yesterday. I literally walked home from work today and I saw those and I was like, Joe, did you give me flowers? And then I was like, oh my God, no, those are mine from yesterday. I was like drunk yesterday when I left because all I had was champagne.
Oh, you didn't eat food?
I mean, I had like a bite of like a little sandwich, but I didn't have breakfast before I came over. So I was just like, I was buzzing.
That's fun.
It was a nice Sunday. Okay, the last one I'll say, and then I'll turn it over to you. Do something cheesy, like go to the park and have a picnic. So I say this because this seems so like main character moment. You're like, I'm never gonna actually go to the park and have a picnic, but actually it's so easy to grab a blanket and go to the park and pack yourself a sandwich or pick up a sandwich on your way and just lay in the park. And that is probably one of my favorite ways to spend time alone. Do I do it all the time? No, but the one Sunday I do it for like the whole summer, I remember that moment, and I really genuinely enjoy my time spending it alone.
Yeah. And I'm going to insert a detail that you didn't.
Insert, please.
Hammock.
Oh, yeah. I saw you write it down. I was like, Courtney, have you ever hammocked?
No, but I wanted you to say it.
Oh, yes. I mean, I love the hammock. It's in our Amazon storefront. Literally would recommend.
So we're becoming Amazon storefront girlies.
We are, but also like I'm just trying to help you.
Yeah, no.
No, hammocking is truly a main character moment.
It is.
One of these nights I'm gonna like spend a night in the hammock, but I'll keep y'all posted on that. But something about being in nature, I think that goes back to like the stars in the ocean.
It does.
Getting outside and spending time alone is just so good for your mental health.
Yeah. I think I'm only going to say one more because everything else kind of involves like the same themes of things we've been talking about. So the last one I'll say is making playlists for your different moods. There's just like something nice about curating a vibe, like whether it be,
I love a curated vibe.
Yeah, it's like make a playlist for Sunday mornings, or make a playlist for when you're driving down or driving in the car for the first time once it gets warm outside. Like, and it's something that can be done over time. It's like when you're listening to your release radar and you're like, oh my God, I wish I was listening to this on the beach right now. Add it to the playlist. It doesn't need to be like this daunting thing, because there's nothing better than like, I don't know, just having songs in a playlist that complement whatever it is that you're doing. And when you stumble across a good playlist, like one of my good friends and coworkers, I've talked about her before a while back, like she just makes playlists, and like they're all titled like, I don't know, like activities you should be doing as you're listening to it. And it actually is therapy. It just like elevates whatever mood you're in or whatever activity you're doing, alone or not.
Yes. And if you decide to make one of these playlists, you are required to send it to me. Because one thing about me is I'm not a music girly. I'm not going to spend time going through playlists, but I love a curated playlist. Like one of my favorites on Spotify is cooking soup in the kitchen. Like I literally that's what I search. I go to playlists and I say cooking soup in the winter, cooking soup in the fall, cooking soup on a Sunday. That's what I search into the Spotify playlist search bar, and people out there are making curated playlists exactly for the moment that you need.
That's elite.
And it is a vibe. So I'm so with you on that, but I just unfortunately don't have that taste. So please send it when you make it. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. I feel like there's a couple more I just want to say. One thing for me that I have done in the past, not as good about it now, but picking one day a week and making it your day. So that is intentionally your day that you spend time alone.
Yep.
Mine is usually Sundays. I try my best not to make plans on Sundays, and then I can just do whatever I want. Whether it's watching my go-to show, I think that's another great way to spend time. Like mine is Sex and the City. Whenever I'm feeling like, okay, I need some alone time, but I have zero energy, I cuddle up on the couch and make a Shirley Temple and I watch Sex and the City. And while that may seem so minimal, you're like, Ashley, what do you mean? That's like me every single night. I'm like, no. It's like my comfort show. It's my favorite blanket. Yeah. It's my favorite drink. And because of that, you're elevating such a simple, chill moment.
You're romanticizing a moment,
exactly.
Honestly.
And that's really all spending time alone is.
Yeah.
Romanticizing spending time with yourself.
Yeah. One thing that I forgot to mention is take yourself out on a date, but like to a restaurant or to a cafe.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned I've done this before and it hasn't gotten enough light. Like just going to a bar seating, and this is like also one of the more bold ones, and I feel like I've only done it because I've been in situations where I've had to do it before, and then once I did it, I realized like, oh wait, why don't I do this more often?
Yeah.
So like once again, I was traveling for work, like I'm alone. I'm going to have to eventually go out alone. But it's just like a vibe. And there's nothing more fun than making other people question who you are and why you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I love a lunchtime, like take myself out. Yeah. I remember I went to Krasi actually just for lunch, and like I got a glass of wine in the middle of the day. Yeah, I sat at the bar. Like the bartenders are always going to flirt with you.
Of course.
Like you're by yourself.
You're going to get a free appetizer or a free drink that they accidentally made.
Yeah. And it's like you strike up some conversation and you're just going to walk out of there feeling so good.
Exactly. And with that, are we done with our list?
I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully that gave you guys some inspo to spend time alone. And if you do any of these things, take a pic and tag us on Instagram. But to close us out, I think our main themes here are being intentional about spending time alone. While you may do a bunch of things like go grocery shopping and go to Target to pick up your errands, like reframing your mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna like really enjoy like this. Yeah. I'm gonna throw on my favorite song or playlist and go to the grocery store. I'm gonna just like mindlessly walk around Target and just like have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's more about the mindset you take into that and just being intentional about spending that time alone.
Yeah.
And then channeling your main character energy.
Yeah.
That was like a theme that really should have never died, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't have to die.
It doesn't have to die. It hasn't died for me.
No. And I guess like the last thing I'll say too is it's easy to not spend time alone when you have such amazing people in your life and you're maybe in a new relationship, or maybe you've been in a relationship for almost 2 years, or you live together, or whatever it may be. Like, you can still make time for yourself, and it's really important to make time for yourself. Like we said earlier in the episode, like, you just need to fill up your own cup so you are in touch with who you are and you never feel like you're entirely dependent on someone else. Like, you need to always romanticize these little moments so that you can remind yourself, like, you know who you are, you love who you are, and you actually don't need anyone else at the end of the day. Because I think when you are kind of blindsided by love or by the people in your life because you're having such a good time, like, God forbid something were to happen or maybe a relationship were to end, you feel very isolated and that you don't even know how to have fun or be with yourself, and you don't even recognize the person you're in the mirror because you've been surrounded by so many people and distractions your whole life up to that point. So
totally,
just another little why it's so important. But at the end of the day, you do you, boo. You do whatever you want to do. I mean, that was our list and things that really make spending time alone such an exciting thing for us. But you do what you want with it. And hopefully these were not super like, oh my God, yeah, I already knew that.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of them were, but like glamorizing them, romanticizing them, and seeing how you can integrate it into your own life.
Totally. And then, very last thing I'll say, the exact opposite of what you just said, I think is important to highlight for all of our single ladies out there. I think you've probably gotten, let's say, like, so good about spending time alone. You're like, yes, okay, I love it. I'm ready for like someone else to come into my life so I can do all of these things with somebody else. I just think it's so important here's your reminder that you have the rest of your life to spend it with somebody else, and the rest of your life to take care of a family and spend time with like your husband or your girlfriend or your wife or whoever it's going to be one day. Like, you're going to wish that you could go back and like have these moments to yourself. So whenever you find yourself doing something alone and you're like, damn, I really wish I had somebody here with me, switch that up.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Look at us flip-flopping, trying to share both sides, you know?
Look at us doing both. Oh my God.
I guess that's what we're here for.
I guess so. I think we're actually adding value. Who would have thought?
We're filled with wisdom, Ashley, and our 24 plus years of life. Let me tell you.
I was thinking about that today at work. I was like, I can't believe I'm literally just like going to go home and like hop on a mic with Court.
And people are going to listen to us.
And people are going to listen.
It's kind of wild.
And they're going to enjoy it.
And they're going
to like it. And they're going to rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Music.
And they're going to tell all of their friends that this is the best show and the favorite day of the week.
And they're going to show up to Baubles and Lace on Newbury Street on April 18th between 6 and 8 p.m. Any other promo we got?
Please and thank you. That's all.
Okay, perfect. All right. See you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah.